Okay, so we are the physiotherapy service organisers for Crisis Christmas, and the purpose of this video is just to give you an introduction to what to expect when you come to do your shift. My name's Jo. I've been involved in the service for, I think this is my 7th year this year. I've been involved every year since it began in 2012.
And I'm Neale. I'm one of the service organisers for this year. I've been involved previously as a student, but this is my first year as a qualified physio. First question, how should I prepare?
Well, it's really important that you come on time. Everything in the morning works to a pretty tight schedule, so people who are late do knock things like transport out a little bit or miss the bus for getting to their clinic. It's really important that you bring the right things with you. Please don't bring valuables with you, things like jewellery, excessive amounts of money. We understand that everybody might want to have a small amount of money on them and their phone, but make sure you've got a pocket big enough to be able to house those things so that you can keep them on your person at all time. We also want you to bring some food and water with you, although it's possible that Crisis can feed us when we're out on shift at lunchtime. All the food that Crisis have is donated, so it's really important that we are able to be self-sufficient. If that food isn't enough, that it needs to be given obviously to our guests rather than to our volunteers ideally. So clothes that we want you to wear, pretty much roughly what Neale is wearing today, something that you can move about in, something that you would be happy working as a physiotherapist in, something that is warm, but also something that if the building is hot you can take a layer off or two. So do think about being warm enough to be in transit to get into cold vans in December, but also being perhaps in a warm building and being able to take a jumper off or whatever.
So when I get there in the morning to the headquarters, what's the plan?
Okay, so when you arrive, you'll be coming to our main centre where you are going to be briefed about where you're going and how the service runs. When you arrive, you'll have to give your name at the desk, and then you'll be given a badge that has an orange colour around the outside, and that shows that you are a part of the services. There may also be an H on the top of the badge, which refers to you being in the healthcare team. So you'll get a briefing. So the briefing will just involve telling you where you're going, dividing up our teams if we're sending people out to multiple clinics, it's the place you come to as a central meeting point.
Sounds good. So how do we get to the clinics? Okay,
so there's normally about 10 clinics across the city, and there'll be transport already booked to take you to where you're going. Like I say, that transport is already booked, so we will have already decided in advance which centres need to be covered on which day, and this is mainly to make sure that every centre gets all the services over the period of Crisis at Christmas week. You'll also be given your kit bag at this point, that is your kit bag for your physiotherapy service so that things can run smoothly.
What's in the kit bag?
Okay, so in the kit bag you'll have things like a stethoscope, goniometer, tape measure, strapping tape, a pen, scissors, tubey grip, hot and cold packs hopefully if we can get them sourced, and yeah, basically tubey grip and TheraBand. So most of the things that you might need, and we've also got a folder that's got lots of exercise sheets, so if you want to give out basically a simple exercise programme for common conditions, we should have some of that as well. Another really important thing that's in your kit bag obviously is your notes. So we have ready-made Crisis documentation sheets that allow you to write all your clinical notes on, and then we store them back at the central place at the end of each shift.
Perfect. So when we're at the clinic,
we'll cover that in our separate videos. We're going to have a video for students and what to expect, and one for qualified physios as well.
Okay, great. And then at the end of the day?
Okay, so at the end of the day, sometimes transport can be a little unpredictable because Christmas traffic is often unpredictable. So you would wait at the clinic that you've been doing providing your service in, and then a transport should be arranged to bring you back to the central place that you met at in the morning. The purpose of you coming back to base is that you will be able to drop your bag and the notes that you've written up for the day. If you haven't finished your notes by the time you come back to the central place, obviously you have to write your notes before you leave your shift at the end of the day. We like people to be finished their shift by 6, but obviously with the unpredictability of transport, that isn't always possible. Okay. I suppose one last thing to say is that we do allow some people to, if somebody lives near the centre that they've been running the clinic in, if they can agree with their co-workers that one person is responsible for taking the bag back, it is okay for you to leave from the centre. But obviously, because there's a responsibility to bring your notes and your bag back to the central place, that is up to negotiation between your team, and if it doesn't suit for everybody to go home from the clinic, then we would expect you to come back to the central point.
So obviously I'm going to be quite proud about my volunteering for Crisis. Can I tell my friends? Can I put it on social media?
Do tell your friends, because obviously they may volunteer as physiotherapists or students in the future. As far as social media is concerned, it's fine to put things on social media, but you have to, again, be guided by how you would be guided in your workplace. So you wouldn't take photos of guests. You also wouldn't let anyone know about the location you're in, because some of the locations that are protecting people, like the women who are maybe fleeing violence, they're not advertised as to where we are based. So yeah, social media might be limited to words and perhaps an image that you find rather than an image that you have taken. Okay. And really, I suppose all we want to say now is thank you for volunteering, and we look forward to seeing you in Christmas week.